Alright boys, so this is a continuation of Mitch's truck. The turbo and everything is on it and it's ready to throw on the rollers and see what kind of power it makes. So if you were watching the last video, if you didn't, I'll link it in the description below. It is a 2000, I think, 2500 truck, completely stock 4L80E, stock rear end, stock engine. It just has a cam and valve springs, 799 heads. This was an iron-headed older truck. It has a billet 7875. It has a PCM4LESS 224, 226 truck turbo cam, I think. I think that's what it is. I have to make sure. And then it has the Snake Eater drop-in specific size truck replacement injector. You don't have to do anything. It drops right in. It has the same Delphi connector. They're 1000 cc. Super cool. This is the first time we're getting to test them out. They are working amazing. So what we did is we threw it on the roller. We worked our way up into the boost range and got a great result out of it. So I'll go over all of that and then some data logs, and you guys will get to see all of it as soon as I stop blabbing about it. So sit back and enjoy. Thanks. Bye. And like I said, this is just the short clip of us messing with the wastegate, checking to make sure if it's leaking or not, all sorts of stuff associated with a extremely cheap wastegate. And again, like I said, we didn't have a boost controller or anything else with us. I did bring an extra spring. Mitch had an extra spring that came with the wastegate kit. So at some point here, we were messing around and putting a bunch of moving the ports around, connecting all the ports, disconnecting all the ports, doing top only and whatnot. So here's a roll-in where I lifted. It was already screaming towards 20 pounds. So that's all in on top. I mean, it's up to you. We got Mitchy boy with the budget truck all tuned up. Made 560 wheel on 14 pounds, 14 degrees, pump and meth. I'm gonna try to race him and drive at the same time. See how I do. Hit me with his bed, spinning out. Oh yeah, it's just fishtailing. Okay, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go over the facts. So this is when it just had, we put the 1500s in it. If you watch the other video, you'll have a nice laugh at Mitch and our expense. He had decaps, and normally we have no issue, and that's, when we start saying that, we know there's going to be something bad. So he actually knocked a rod clean out of the motor when he was trying to start it. And it didn't hit the block, or it didn't punch a hole in the block or oil pan, so we put in a spare one that I had, and we brought it over to the dyno. And this is a camshaft specifically that Keith from PCM4LESS cuts that I wanted to try, and he shipped up for us to throw it in a project. And it's like if you know you're going to go turbo, but you're all motor for now, so you want to do a little bit of the work and then save up and get your turbo stuff done later. That's specifically what this cam is meant for, to be good on motor, good bottom end, good top end, good middle, good everything all around on motor, and it's happy with the turbo. So we were very curious to take the pretty much, a little bit over 200 horsepower. I think it made 215. I don't have the file in here. I have to load another one for you. But I did show it in the other video, about 215-ish horsepower, 220-ish horsepower. Then we made 320 here. So you see we were sneaking up on it. And this is to the tire with the unlocked stock 80E and everything. So yeah, you can see we made 322 horsepower, full tilt. I did turn it down a tiny bit, down to this 310 here. So that's why I said we picked up a 100 rear wheel with, it's heads cam, technically yes, but it's a stock cylinder head that I ripped off of my 4.8 supercharged G35 LS swap, blah, blah, blah. So that had a super pitted 799s on it. And just for fun, I was like, well, I bet if I put a smaller valve, but higher compression truck head on, I pick up power. And I did. I made 570, and then I put the smaller truck head on that's crappier, and I made 630. So I picked up a bunch on compression and whatever else. So that's where we're at with this, the 310 baseline. And then this is when he brought it running with the turbo with the drop-in SEP 1000s, because we had 1500s in it here because, like I said, his stock injectors were leaky, boys. No matter what we did to try. So this is the base tune with the turbo. This was just the roll-in test. And a lot of you will laugh, oh, it made less. Yeah, it had super safe air, fuel, and timing, and it made 2.5 pounds of boost. So let's check out the log here. So this was, yeah, I said 3, but it falls off to about 2.5 up top. Super light wastegate spring. So what do we have here? I was almost pinning the gram cylinders table too. So 122, let's bring up my boy here for all you guys. You can download this app. I wrote it. If you want to get it, you can get it off of the tune cabinet. 120, 2.9 PSI, and then it falls off because the spring pressure is so low. Well, 118, yeah, so it's right, we split the difference. We gave it the peak. So 3 pounds, 12 degrees up top. And that's what it made. Ta-da! 307. So, cleaned it up a tiny bit on fuel. I think it had decent air fuel, I think, on 2 or 3 pounds. All I had to do was move the ignition around and the fuel a tiny bit. But you can see we did 343. So that was hit number 2. What are the notes? 3 PSI, 20 degrees, 10.0 air fuel. So you can see here, it just has more spark in it. I'm like, man, for 3 pounds, we can go right back to all motor spark like it was before. And it was still rich. And then here I bumped it to an 1190 air fuel. Same thing, 120, 118 kPa, 20 degrees. And then you can see 353. So you can see where it cleaned up on the fuel and spark only. So promising results. We go, what is the last one? We're going to do, like I said, we're going to be more modest. So yeah, that was a failed hit. So here and here. So there's the gain on roughly, high 2 PSI range. Pretty dang good. So now we move on. And what was number 4 was partially, that was a failure of some sort. Who knows what I was doing there. So here is 423 horsepower. How much boost do we make on that? Hit number 5. Do I have the my stuff in order here still. Nah, that's not right. We were messing with the gate for a while here. These are repeated hits at the same wastegate pressure when we realized we couldn't get any more boost out of it, I believe. Here we go. This is the first thing. We couldn't get the boost we wanted, so just for fun, I talk about doing this all the time. We took all the lines off the wastegate and just plugged the top so it could run away, because sometimes the spring is so light, back pressure will open it, and it won't be something crazy, but I just rolled in, and you could see on the log is the heavy indicator here. So that was, yeah, number 4. We did get 6 pounds out of it somehow, and we made 433. So let's go over that. I'm sorry, let's backtrack a tiny bit. Those were these hits. So this was the 6 pounds. We did get 6, 1120 air fuel, 6 PSI, 18, 17 degrees, 1120 air fuel, nice and happy. So this is when we messed with the wastegate quite a bit, and I will show you. I threw a bunch of fuel in the base tune above like 200 kPa, which is like 14, 15 pounds, just in case it wanted to get nuts on us. And you can see I just rolled in, and here it comes up on boost, and I'm like, okay, that's okay. And then it's like, whoop, it just starts climbing this Mount Everest peak. So I just lifted, and you can see in the video, it just throws a ton of soot because I just chucked fuel at it so it wouldn't be totally crazy. And that's when we were like, all right, we need to mess with the wastegate. So that you can see right here is this hit. It was starting to just creep away, so we had to manage that. So we messed with the wastegate for a while, and then we came back with, that one's still crappy, 436, 49. This is the one. Number 9 is when we changed springs. We put like a spring or a different spring. I can't remember. I think one of the singles in. Now with the lower reference only, it made almost 10 pounds and it made almost 500 wheel, 496. So that was this successful hit here. 10 pounds, 15 degrees, 11.4 air fuel, 496 wheel. So you can see right here. Da-da-da-da. Yep, and it holds nicer too because the back pressure isn't blowing open such a light spring. And this is a weird log. My data logger was lagging out. You can see this. Like there's just weird stuff going on. What I notice is, you know, sometimes you guys can relate to this, some of you. Sometimes HP Tuners just like lags out and you don't catch it until later. So some of this data is not 100%, but anyway. So we have our first confirmed 10-pound hit, and we're gonna move on. And then what I did was we connected top and bottom, and it only gave us 4 additional. So we messed around, 8 and 9. So these are the final ones where we leaned on it a tiny bit, and then I backed off timing, and it fell off, and then we settled for a middle ground because the ignition wasn't really picking up that much. So 14 pounds, 12 degrees made 558, and then we ran out of time on the dyno, so it was getting late, and we're like, well, it's all shook down, everything's working good, we'll work on drivability and get some other video of the truck and some other fun stuff. So look how nice and flat that 201 kPa line is. Oh, dang. That's like a tabletop. Unbelievable. Anyway, it's just pinning the spark table. It has 12 degrees up top. It's a little fat, like 11.0. You could trim that out, but it's a street truck. So all he's going to do is hammer the thing. So what you want to do is put a nice safe tune-up in it. If you watch the video of it on the dyno, it has a nice clean pull. There's no hiccups or puffs or misfires or anything going on. So it's all the stock hardware from the 200-some thousand mile truck. Even with one of the broken rods, he just pulled the pan off the bottom of the truck and the head and swapped the piston out and the rod, just the one, put it all back together, and then here we are swinging this thing. So we'll get some more video of that. And that reminds me, I forgot to put the street drive clips in, so I got to throw those in before this whole itinerary, but pretty nice to see. I even did a picture here. I showed this on the internet, this guy, where it shows the power growth from motor all the way up, and then I did this one, a nice screenshot. It's so too hard to remember which ones. So that's technically the all motor pull, which some people were getting confused. That's the cammed engine, cam and springs. It has stock iron manifolds on it, but that's cam and springs. So the stock engine made 210 horsepower. So this is with the cam and everything, and this is after the turbo at 2.5 pounds, 6 pounds, 10 pounds, and 14 pounds. So it's progressing pretty well. Pump gas anymore, in my opinion, at least up in the Northeast here, is awful. I can't make anywhere near the power we used to. Cars run into what I call octane limited. I might be using that word incorrectly, but you'll push for power and you just can't get any spark in on the fuel. Like, you start getting into single digits worth of timing, it's not worth it anymore. The car just doesn't want to make power. Something like this on ethanol would go nuts. It would really love to have the E85 in it. So it's something we might do one day. Honestly, the goal was to make 500 horsepower and see what he thinks and see how it is for a while and then put a converter in the truck. But at this point, he has like $3,000 into the truck. It's $1,600 for the truck, and then a bunch of this used turbo stuff and used cylinder heads and very cheap parts, but we know what we're doing, so we make them all work together. So not to say that you couldn't do it, but you can't always expect to do something this cheap without the prior knowledge to make it all work. So take all of that into consideration. Other than that, these trucks are the most fun you can have for the money. You buy them and they come with almost everything you need. You just you literally put it, this has a completely stock 4L80E and converter, and it doesn't even have the HD2 kit in it. He wanted to see how the tranny would do, and then now since it seems good, he's going to put the, partial HD2 kit in it now that it doesn't seem like it's burnt up or, filled with particulates from the bottom of a lake bed. So that's it. That's all there is to it. Let me know what you guys think of this whole thing, or if you want to know any more information. We're going to do a video where we're going to show, we're going to not that the tune-up is bad right now. It starts, runs, drives. You wouldn't even notice a difference. I think some of the cruise is a tiny bit lean. We didn't get to address that on the dyno. All we were going for is super, just gets horsepower out of it real fast. So I want to show a video of how well the Snake Eater injectors work, because a lot of people say they're not great. And they're like the best thing you can buy for the money, in my opinion. Especially for a truck project like this. He has that. I've shown pictures of them before. They're in the truck now. I don't know why I'm looking around like I can grab them and show you. But they're literally the same exact body, connector, physical dimensions. They just drop into these older trucks. So if you want to do this project, there's like nothing better for that, in my opinion. Obviously, it's a physical, complete drop-in. So we're using roughly half of that injector on gas with a nice fat air fuel, keep everything safe. And I want to, like I said, want to show a video of us starting, running, driving. Immediately start it, throw it in reverse drive, show there's no issues. You can have your cake and eat it too with a lot of this cheap, effective things. So that's coming up. We'll do a walk around, everything else, but enjoy. Throw your questions down below. I'll try to remember to link the first iteration of this all motor cheap truck build before we do the turbo stuff in the description. If not, go ahead and flame me until I do. That's usually how it works. So enjoy.